You set up your phone?
I'm trying not to get all this in there, but is what I'm trying to do, trying to start from.
You're streaming, Tony. You can start.
Am I supposed to have all this stuff that I'm looking at other than just the meeting?
Yeah, it's part of the user interface. You can go ahead and just start, Tony. You're good.
Okay, so, okay, but, yeah, I don't want that on my Facebook camera. That's why I don't want to, did you see what's on the screen? I don't want all that.
No, we don't see anything.
Okay, yeah, well, over here, we got a whole bunch of stuff that, and we'll explain it later. Right now. Hang on. It's not working.
There's a delay.
There's a delay. There is.
No, there's a delay.
Oh, I know what you mean,
There's
latency.
an image delay.
Yeah. That's gonna freak me out, man. Okay, folks, let's just go ahead and start. That's not right. Nothing is right this morning.
Good morning, Daryl.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tony.
Good morning. How you doing, Cambies?
All right. Good. Thank
We're
you.
not off to a good start this morning. Oh, we're on. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, my friends. God's blessings are upon you. Let's praise the Lord together, my friends. We have all awakened in God's shelter. Now we've come to praise His name together. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, my friend. Cutting it short. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning.
my friend.
My friend.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Well, we're still working on a few things, still having a few technical issues here, trying to get things better and having a few, I don't know, let's call them growing pains. Hang on for a moment here. I'm going to try and make a little change here. And maybe even turn my volume up a little bit. I don't think my volume is quite where it should be. I hope everyone is doing well. It's good to have the gang is back. Nini's over here. Good morning, Nini. How are you? You're well. And how you doing, Daryl? That's good. That's good. That's good. And Jeremiah is working on some stuff. You all don't know Jeremiah. He's our techno geek. I'll just leave it at techno geek. And we've got some people here entering the waiting room. I hope someone else can let them in. I don't. Where did I put the mouse, Daryl? Oh, it's over there. It's God. And folks out in Facebook land, how you doing? Hang on for a second here. There we go. Okay, we just had to let a couple of people in, and it looks like we're something close to normal now on what we're seeing here, so that's good. And again, I apologize for our late start. How you doing, Andy?
I'm doing okay today.
Wonderful. And Daryl, I mean, not Daryl, Adam. Adam just joined us. How are you this morning, Adam? Now, folks, as you know, again, to remind you, we are studying Shoghi Effendi, the advent of divine justice, the advent of divine justice. And so we will continue that today. We're going to start with a brief prayer. Let's find one of mine. Daryl, do you have favorite prayers from the writings?
Not exactly. I have prayers that I say more than others sometimes. As far as favorites go, the writings are so beautiful. It's hard to pick a favorite.
You're just trying to make me feel bad because I have favorite prayers. Is that it? You're just trying to. Well, one of my favorite prayers, you would think I'd know the page. I have it marked. But there's a prayer that in times when we need assistance, that I like to pray, and I think that's that's one reason it's one of my favorite prayers, because I pretty much always need assistance and blessings. And so let me find that page. There are so many to choose from. Praise be to thee, O Lord, my God, my master. Thou hearest the sighing of those who, though they long to behold thy face, are yet separated from thee and far distant from thy court. Thou testifiest to the lamentations which those who have recognized thee pour forth because of their exile from thee and their yearning to meet thee. I beseech thee by those hearts which contain naught except the treasures of thy remembrance and praise, and which show forth only the testimonies of thy greatness and the evidences of thy might, to bestow on thy servants who desire thee the power to approach the seat of the revelation of the splendor of thy glory, and to assist them whose hopes are set on thee to enter into the tabernacle of thy transcendent favor and mercy. Naked am I, O my God. Clothe me with the robe of thy tender mercies. I am sore athirst. Give me to drink of the oceans of thy bountiful favor. I am a stranger. Draw me nearer unto the source of thy gifts. I am sick. Sprinkle upon me the healing waters of thy grace. I am a captive. Rid me of my bondage by the power of thy might and through the force of thy will, that I may soar on the wings of detachment towards the loftiest summits of thy creation. Thou verily doest what thou choosest. There is no God but thee, the help in peril, the all-glorious, the unconstrained. And this is a prayer by Baha'u'llah. Now, again, as you know, we've been studying from the advent of divine justice. And last week, we got into the prerequisites and the necessary qualities that should be part and parcel of Baha'i lifestyle, shall we say, and also of Baha'i institutions, and in the hopes and the belief that the effects of these positive ways of living will also affect the societies that we are a part of. And so Shoghi Effendi is citing the writings from Baha'u'llah and Abdul Baha, and giving his, of course, his own input, and sharing what those necessary elements are, what should be a part of that lifestyle. And I'm using the term lifestyle because that's just the way that I processed it. So we're going to go ahead and continue, and I cannot emphasize how good it is to see you here, Daryl.
Thank you.
Yeah, so anytime you
Good to
want
be
to
back.
begin.
Okay.
Well, you know what, before, I'm going to give you a little lead in, just a brief one. We ended with, there can be no doubt whatever that if the day star of justice, which the clouds of tyranny have obscured, were to shed its light upon men, the face of the earth would be completely transformed. And a lot of the things that we're about to read have a lot to do with justice.
Right.
Mhm.
God be praised, Abdul Baha in his turn explains. The sun of justice has risen above the horizon of Baha'i. For in his tablets, the foundations of such a justice have been laid as no mind hath from the beginning of creation conceived. The canopy of existence, he further explains, resteth upon the pole of justice and not of forgiveness. And the life of mankind dependeth upon justice and not on forgiveness. Small wonder, therefore, the author of the Baha'i Revelation should have chosen to associate the name and title of that house, which is to be the crowning glory of his administrative institutions, not with forgiveness, but with justice. To have made justice the only basis and the permanent foundation of his most great peace, and to have proclaimed it in his hidden words as the best beloved of all things in his sight. It is to the American believers particularly that I feel urged to direct this fervent plea to ponder in their hearts the implications of this moral rectitude and to uphold with heart and soul uncompromisingly, both individually and collectively, this sublime standard, a standard of which justice is so essential and potent an element.
Mm.
As to a chaste and holy life, it should be regarded as no less essential a factor that must contribute to its proper share to the strengthening and vitalization of the Baha'i community, upon which must in turn depend the success of any Baha'i plan or enterprise. In these days, when the forces of irreligion are weakening moral fiber and undermining the foundations of individual morality, the obligation of chastity and holiness must claim an increasing share of the attention of the American believers, both in their individual capacities and as the responsible custodians of the interests of the faith of Baha'u'llah. In the discharge of such an obligation, to which the special circumstances resulting from an excessive and enervating materialism now prevailing in the country lend particular significance, they must play a conspicuous and predominant role. All of them, either men or women, must at this threatening hour, when the lights of religion are fading out and its restraints are one by one being abolished, pause to examine themselves, scrutinize their conduct, and with characteristic resolution, arise to purge the life of their community of every trace of moral laxity that might stain the name or impair the integrity of so holy and precious a faith.
I'm stopping you right there, Daryl.
It's a good spot to stop.
Yeah. I first want to say good morning, Yuda. It's great that you could join us this morning. Man, I've read this. Does this seem a little out of touch with today's, I don't know, but the state of the world, with the way people live their lives, that seems to be pretty normal?
I don't think it seems out of touch. I think it's dead on, to be honest.
You just full stop. Right
Well,
there.
You know, we choose to lead our lives the way that we want to.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Here's the guide, folks. See, you know, here are the boundaries. Here are the, you know, he said the standard.
And that's, I don't even want to say that's the problem. That's the challenge.
That is the challenge, of course.
We're talking about a society that is based on a totally different set of characteristics and qualities and so forth than what has come to be, I think, kind of just accepted as the norm.
Yeah.
And this is a very high bar, an extremely high bar. But I think we have to remember that a lot of times when we're talking about what things, you know, people's personal behavior, we keep it at the personal, we keep it at the individual. And what we're talking about here is the effect of individual behavior on the formation of a society. Exactly, that will be so much better to serve the needs of all. And that's why, you know, I mean, we have to be thinking about our personal behavior. We probably shouldn't be going around pointing fingers at who we think is violating whatever standards we think we should all be following. But the standard is the standard.
Yeah.
And we
Well, I mean, through this whole section here, he talks about the rectitude of character.
Yes, yes.
This is all part of that process, the rectitude of character, justice, morality, chastity, all of these things
Yeah.
that he's setting as guideposts for
Mhm.
how we should live our lives.
Yeah, yeah,
And that he not just talks about them, he talks about them in relation to the effect that they're going to have on the society that we're trying to achieve,
yeah,
and on peace.
exactly,
So
exactly. And when you think of some of these things that he points out in the discharge of such an obligation to which the special circumstances resulting from an excessive and enervating materialism, you know, now prevailing in their country, he's addressing the Americans again,
that's right.
now prevailing in their country. I lost my place. In particular significance, they must play a conspicuous and predominant role. And then you say, all of them, be they men or women, must at this threatening hour, when the lights of religion are fading out. This was back in 1938. That's gotten even more pronounced
Right.
now. Are fading out, and its restraints are one by one. The restraints of religion. Now, wait a minute. Let's talk about that phrase. The restraints of religion. Do you think that a lot of people might hear that phrase and hear it in a bad way? Religion restrains you. The restraints of religion. And he's speaking of it in a positive way. Okay, he's speaking of it in a pause to examine. Wait a minute. All of them, be they men or women, must at this threatening hour when the lights of religion are fading out and its restraints are one by one being abolished.
Right.
We must pause. They must pause to examine themselves, scrutinize their conduct, and with characteristic resolution arise to purge the life of their community with every trace of moral laxity that might stain the name or impair the integrity of so holy and precious a faith. And remember, he's talking to Americans, but the American Baha'is.
Right.
And so, you know, it's a high bar, but it's one that we're supposed to be striving to reach. Okay, I'm locking in.
Okay. A chaste and holy life must be made the controlling principle in the behavior and conduct of all Baha'is, both in their social relations and with members of their own community, and in their contact with the world at large, not just their individual relations, in contact with the world at large. It must adorn and reinforce the ceaseless labors and meritorious exertions of those whose enviable position is to propagate the message and to administer the affairs of the faith of Baha'i. It must be upheld in all its integrity and implications in every phase of the life of those who will fill the ranks of that faith, whether in their homes, their travels, their clubs, their societies, their entertainments, their schools and their universities. It must be accorded special consideration in the conduct of the social activities of every Baha'i summer school and any other occasions on which the Baha'i community itself is organized and fostered. It must be closely and continually identified with the mission of the Baha'i youth, both as an element in the life of the community and as a factor in the future progress and orientation of the youth of their own country.
Okay, I'm stopping you again, Daryl. I'm sorry, man. Sorry. I know we're short on time again today, but
That's okay.
the whole chaste and holy life thing, I gotta be honest with you. When I start reading about chaste and holy life, the first word I think of is chastity. And by association, I kind of think of, sexual,
Purity.
yeah.
Yeah.
This goes beyond that.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't limit it, because I even, believe it or not, I even went and looked up chaste. I'm like, okay, wait a minute, maybe I'm reading this wrong, interpreting this wrong. And indeed, I mean, I'm just talking about Googling the word. And indeed, it did say chaste is abstaining from sex, having no sexual nature or intention. And we have to look at that contextually, of course. But it also goes on to say, without unnecessary ornamentation, but also simple or restrained. Yeah, simple or restrained.
Yes.
And we already talked about some of the restraints that trying to live a Baha'i lifestyle or religion that religion places on us. There will be restraints if we want to be in line with principles that will contribute in positive ways to the building of a positive society. There are going to be some restraints, and many of those are personally that we place them upon ourselves.
Right.
If we're going to be living in line with what we claim to believe. And while it's challenging and difficult, it's what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
It's what we're supposed to be doing. I noticed you put your book down again.
Yes. It's time for some.
Oh, God. This is. I haven't even said anything. So hang on. Let me set something up. Well, okay, just keep talking, Daryl. Whatever.
I could keep talking, but it's just to fill airspace.
Well, there's nothing wrong with filling airspace sometimes. If you don't mind my saying so, as long as we fill it with something good. Yeah, I do need to turn up my. Just a little bit. I hope that's not too much. And that is certainly not right. I don't even know what that is. I'm sorry. That is not right. You know what? We haven't always had a drum. But that does, what is going on? People, we have to apologize. There's,
It's not the tuning.
no, it's, okay, it's, okay. We're just gonna, hopefully it doesn't sound as bad on your end as it does here. Right now, the sound quality here is really not good. Sometimes this life seems full of darkness, and friends seem oh so few. But I recall the source of my being. This is all that I have to do, and God is sufficient unto me. He verily is the all sufficing. In Him let the trusting trust. In Him let the trusting trust. Whenever good times give way to bad times, and life seems too much to bear, then I remember the ways God has blessed me, all the times He's answered my prayers, and God is sufficient unto me. He verily is the all-sufficing. In Him let the trusting trust. In Him let the trusting trust. God is sufficient unto me. He verily is the all-sufficing. In Him let the trusting trust. 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 It's something going on here. You sounded fine. This was.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, we are going to continue. And again, we are reading, from the Advent of Divine Justice. But what's more important today is that we are reading about the importance of a chaste and holy life. And of course, in relation to the building and maintenance of a society that serves the needs of the people of that society in the best way.
Okay, now I've only got enough time probably to get through just one more paragraph here, so would you mind?
Okay,
Such a taste.
okay. Oh, yeah. You can't see this in my book, but I underlined all of this because if you, like me, are wondering, what does this chaste and holy life consist of? It includes some of the things that you're probably assuming. Artisher just joined us. Good morning, Artisher, and good morning, Alex. But it also includes some other things. So I'll go ahead and read these things that I'm going to change to. No, I'll leave it there. And read Shoghi Effendi actually lists a lot of the things that are a part of a chaste and holy life. And I'm going to go ahead and give you a heads up. If you feel very comfortable in the way society works today, you will feel extremely uncomfortable with a lot of the things that he lists right now. He says, such a chaste and holy life, with its implications of modesty, purity, temperance, decency, and clean-mindedness, involves no less than the exercise of moderation in all that pertains to dress, language, amusements, and all artistic and literary avocations. So even what you read, even what you look at, chaste and holy. It demands daily vigilance in the control of one's carnal desires and corrupt inclinations. I think that's the thing most people kind of emphasize and concentrate on. It calls for the abandonment of a frivolous conduct. I think we could spend a whole lot of time talking about that, trying to define what is frivolous, what is too much. It calls for the abandonment of a frivolous conduct with its excessive attachment to trivial and often misdirected pleasures. It requires total abstinence from all alcoholic drinks, from opium, which was the popular drug at that time, from opium, and from similar habit-forming drugs. It condemns the prostitution of art and of literature, something else that I think deserves discussing. It condemns the prostitution of art and of literature, the practices of nudism and companionate marriage, meaning approaching marriage in a very kind of casual way and even living together. The practices of nudism and of companionate marriage, infidelity in marital relationships, and all manner of promiscuity, of easy familiarity, and of sexual vices. It can tolerate no compromise with the theories, the standards, the habits, and the excesses of a decadent age. Nay, rather, it seeks to demonstrate through the dynamic force of its example the pernicious character of such theories, the falsity of such standards, the hollowness of such claims, the perversity of such habits, and the sacrilegious character of such excesses. So if you're wondering, well, what's Joe Givney talking about when he's talking about this chaste and holy life?
Here it is.
There you go. And you know, I got to admit, even when I was reading that, I said, wait a minute, you know, companionate marriage caused me a problem. I'm like, well, what is that? And I had to look it up again. And some of it, I'll just read what I found. Okay, this is not from a Baha'i source. This is Google. So, companionate marriage, a proposed form of marriage in which legalized birth control would be practiced. Well, okay, we'll leave it at that. Legalized birth control would be practiced. The divorce of childless couples by mutual consent would be permitted, and neither party would have any financial or economic claim on the other. It says you could compare that to a trial marriage, but it also says an informal association of man and woman in a connubial relationship that is usually comparatively transitory, meaning I think it's speaking to promiscuity, comparatively transitory and without legal status, and it could come under common law marriage. I also looked up the idea of, okay, prostitution of, you know, literature and so forth. Yeah, and of course, prostitution is the practice or occupation of engaging in sexual activity with someone for payment. But it also had another definition there. The unworthy or corrupt use of one's talents for the sake of personal or financial gain. So, you know, it's too limiting if we just think of someone selling their body. It's like, hey, you've got skills and talents and you use them in the wrong way. Yeah, you're doing the same thing, or at least it still falls under that category. Now, yes.
Tony, I'd like to inject something there relevant to what you just said.
Please, Andy.
Approaching 40 years ago, I used to play my music in bars, and I realized, and I was earning part of my living that way. I reasoned at first that because I wasn't drinking, that what I was doing was okay, was just a way to earn a living. And then one fine day it came to me that the bar owners were using my talent to promote their particular product. And at that moment, it became as clear as the noonday sun that I could no longer allow my talent to be used for that purpose. And guess what? After that revelation, if I ever again did play in a bar, the bar owners would invariably complain and throw me out because their alcohol sales went right into the toilet.
Oh, really? So you were doing a good thing. Okay. You know, I mean, I think it needs to be pointed out, Andy, that, you know, you did what everyone is expected to do, and that is making a personal choice. What everyone has the right to do. Let's put it that way. Making a personal choice And I guess for you, that came after a period of growth. Am I being a little,
You're being spot on. That's exactly what happened. And I needed, and if I want to grow, it my personal choices must be aligned to the degree possible with divine will, and and this was something that experienced helped me to do, at least in that category.
And I have one more question. As I know we have to move forward, but
Yeah, go
would you
ahead.
say your life got more difficult or did it get easier? Or both, a little bit of both?
It got difficult in one sense, easier in another. It got much more difficult financially because that was my primary income stream.
Hmm.
I ended up having to move away from the geographical area that I lived and go to someplace else where I could work in a different field.
Oh, I see. Okay. How about your spiritual health? Would you say it improved or kind of stayed the same, or did it affect it all?
Well, yes, at least if we consider that one aspect,
Mhm.
at least that one aspect of my life, I was saying yes to Baha'u'llah. And by the way, the imperative to get out of the bars, to get out of bars, was later actually put into writing by the Universal House of Justice.
All right.
Oh
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
and so
Thanks for sharing that, Andy.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
Um, it's now that moment where, anyone else who has, would like to share a prayer or a song. And we're gonna start here with our Camby's moment as usual, if we can do that.
Do you have something to share with us, Camby?
Sure. پروردگارا این مرغ شکسته پرواز را بال و پری عطا فرما و این بنده ناتوان را قدرت و توانایی بخش این افتاده را از خاک عجز و زاری بلند کن و این مستمر را به نفحات ملکوت ارجمند نما Thank you.
Thank you, Camby's. We kind of lost your sound there at the end, but thank you. We heard most of it when you picked up your violin, I think just a little before that.
I heard all of it.
I'm sure it was beautiful as always. Andy, would you like to share something?
Yeah.
I don't think it's them. I think it's us again.
Now, first of all, I heard all of Camby's. Every note he played was nice and clear. Now, can you hear me? Can you hear me speaking? Hello? Can you hear me speaking?
I can hear you.
I can hear. Okay. Tony did not respond when I asked him. Now, can you hear this?
We hear you now. We hear you now. Yeah, we're having some issues on this end.
All right. So you heard, you can hear me speaking? Were you able to hear this?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You heard my C chord. Excellent. Okay, here goes. Shine your light on me, Baha'u'llah. I am over here, Baha'u'llah. Shine your light on me, Baha'u'llah. Glory, glory, help me light the world, Baha'u'llah. Help me light the world, Baha'u'llah. I am over here, Baha'u'llah. Help me teach the cause, Baha'u'llah. Glory, glory, shine your light on me, Baha'u'llah. I am over here, Baha'u'llah. Shine your light on me, Baha'u'llah. Glory, glory, glory,
Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
O ye loving friends, strive ye with heart and soul to make this world the mirror image of the kingdom, that this nether world may teem with the blessings of the world of God, that the voices of the company on high may be raised in acclamation, and signs and tokens of the bounties and bestowals of Baha'u'llah may encompass all the earth.
Thank you, Farah. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Well, folks, we'd like to say thanks again for everyone who chose to share with us today and just be a part of today's program, today's devotion, I should call it. And again, we want to apologize for some of the glitches we're having. We're trying to get those figured out and cleared up so we can have a smoother running devotion. I always say, or frequently I've said that, you know, we were praying and singing before we had all this technology, and we really don't want it to get in the way of what's most important, which is, of course, the taking a moment to share and acknowledge our love and belief in God and Baha'u'llah and all the manifestations of God. So it's important that we remember that. But it's also important that we remind you that this is a community effort, isn't it, Daryl?
It is a community effort. And if you would like more information about the Baha'i Faith, There are some definitive websites that you can go and check it out.
Mhm.
You can go to www.baha'i.us, or you can go to www.bahaiteachings.org, or you can go to www.baha'i.org. And if you happen to be in the Tampa Bay area and would like to know more, you can always go to the Clearwater Baha'i website, which is www.clearwaterbaha'is.org.
Yes, yes. And we'd like to thank everyone again, once again, for joining us. And, when things don't go smoothly, it freaks me out. So it's still freaking me out. We still have to just, hey, we keep on going and keep on hanging in there. Hopefully you'll be able to join us back here next week.
Yep.
And I don't remember, what is it you always say, Darryl?
What I always say, and the fact that you don't remember really kind of disturbs me.
I'm kidding, I remember.
I know. If you do nothing else with the rest of this week, or the rest of the month, the year, your life, whatever, you do nothing else. The one thing that you can do that will benefit you and everyone you know is to share your love. Have a great day.
O people of justice, be as brilliant as the light, and as splendid as the fire that blazed in the burning bush. The brightness of the fire of your love will no doubt fuse and unify the contending peoples and kindreds of the earth, whilst the fierceness of the flame of enmity and hatred cannot but result in strife and ruin. We beseech God that he may shield his creatures from the evil designs of his enemies. He verily hath power over all things. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. Whoa, whoa. We're just going to jump to the end. Have a good week, folks. Take care. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Take care, folks out there in Facebook land. I wish there was a way I could turn that off from way back here. That's right, I've got to end this, so Jeremiah can get in. I forgot about that.